Hello, hola, bonjour. Welcome to Your Story Matter podcast. I'm your host, Angie Abreu Olivo, and we are here to inspire sustainability and change by creating with purpose. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Your Story Matter podcast. I'm Angie, your host. Long time no talk, huh? I hope you're doing well. Send you so much good vibes. I apologize I haven't been here in a while. It's been quite busy, as I explained in the recent YouTube channel video, for those who are listening through the YouTube channel, and those who are listening from here on Spotify or any other platform, welcome. Those who have been here before, how are you? I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a good month. I know that we are transitioning into the energies of finishing Aquarius season and turning into more Pisces energy. So one thing I was just want to say, I missed coming here. I was just looking into because that's been harder to these days. I don't know if you've been following me on social media. If you're looking into my stories, I invite you to do that. All my credentials and descriptions in the description below here. I encourage you to follow me on Instagram and also follow people that I'm following right now who are in the advocacy movement of stopping a genocide, right? I think we've been talking about this since October 7th. It's been almost 4 months now. It's going through it. There is some news already going around, so I don't want to repeat myself too much. I want to focus today on those topics that I already spoke about in the video that I told you guys, podcast 81 is going to focus on. But mostly guided by Holy Spirit and God and angels, because they've been pushing me to do this, because I've been trying to find joy in different things that no longer have joy anymore for me. This constant grieving, this constant it's regulated now. It's not like it's just that when you have a lot of empathy, it also creates you have to have boundaries, right? You have to, and for me it has been kind of difficult. I'm just being honest here. Also dealing with my own personal stuff and things that I'm being overcoming. But then again, I know that God does not give me things that I cannot handle. But also trying to be there not only for my situation, but also for other people, for other communities and stuff like that. Learning, educating myself, but also learning at the same time, but also finding ways of balance, right? I love that. What I'm trying to say is that I forgot how much I love doing podcasts. And that's something I'm like, wait, but you love talking to people. You love, and also that too is I thank you so much, guys, for your emails, your comments, your shares, donations as well. I really appreciate it. Okay, it does help to continue going. It's been kind of hard to balance everything around, but we do learn from other people. So that's something that I'm noticing as well, that I'm like, man, I do learn from others. Like, for example, today, his name is, his handle is called Yuval Mans. He's a Jewish anti-Zionist. And he was talking about today about how to see balance, to enjoy pleasure. While also, constantly watching a genocide, a live genocide. And this is the most documented genocide ever in history, okay? And it's enough with I don't know, I didn't know, I'm not what. Everybody can see, everybody watches their phone, everybody, it's not completely oblivious. anymore, and not talking about this or not discussing about this, not eradicating white supremacy from ourselves, not decolonizing ourselves. There's no excuses anymore, right? We are trying to eradicate Zionism, right? Because it's something that is a form of white supremacy. But one thing that he was talking about is that I've been talking about before, but I forgot that I should, like, when you advise other people, but you should give yourself that advice. And it's something that he mentioned today. By the time you're listening, it's the 17. And and he was talking about that, how he was giving tips to his community of how he balance that, like having, enjoying pleasure and stuff like that. And how is it that if we allow the colonizers to take our joy, to take away our pleasures, to take away because it is a form of resistance, to enjoy yourself and have joy, because that way you can transmute and alchemize that energy and send it to those who actually really need it. Because at the end of the day, he did mention that too. And I talked about that in the past. And it's great that it was brought out today to remind me of something that I have talked about in the past, is that you are useless to those who need you if your cup is not full, if you're depleted, if you're exhausted, if you're not enjoying what you're doing. And especially we have to enjoy what we're doing. Any form of creativity in terms of advocacy and humanitarian work, it has to be enjoyable. You have to enjoy it. And that's what I was looking at, like, okay, what are the things that make me go back to that joy? To not, and even while I'm watching and seeing things, like, for example, we just saw, like, there's videos going around now that there's children, like, it's they're dying. They're either dying or starvation, or the bombardment, or the extreme cold. There's just a lot, and it's crazy, and might make you feel hopeless and stuff like that, because you also see the ICJ recently just said that, there's no provisional measure that needs to be happening into, to permanently cease fire. And then you see Biden saying, there's just a temporarily ceasefire, like as if this is like a joke or something. Well, everyone can see the atrocity and how this has to stop. Like, even the own people right now in Tel Aviv in Israel are retaliating. They want this Netanyahu out. They want him out because he's a dictator. He's psychopath, genocidal maniac. And most of the people who are supporting and funding this are also too, even though some of them are very silent and convert narcissists, right? And still business as usual and stuff like that. But one thing also I'm also learning through, this is why you have to use discernment, and you also have to understand that not all messages are for you, but these specific messages that we deliver here in the podcast, Restoring About a Podcast, and the YouTube channel, Angie Block, Divine Intuitive, and RadioSip.com, are for educational purposes, but also spiritual educational purposes, where we are here to dismantle white supremacy, eradicate capitalism, literally, and all these imperialists, and eradicate all this. So yes, the advocacy, at the end of the day, when we say free Palestine and ceasefire, at the end of the day, Palestine is freeing us, not the other way around. So we also have to be considerate and grateful about that, and also understand that when we're doing this work, we also have to understand that taking some time off from social media, off from that, because yes, it can be consuming, and a lot of us, we feel like if we're not constantly there's something bad is going to happen. There's something always happens. Something is always bad happening. But our form of resistance as well is to make sure that we're not constantly depleting ourselves and exhausting ourselves. Some of us have lost that thrive or the joy of like eating, right? Like this is something that he was talking about, and other Palestinians also talk about this, how hard it is to find joy even eating, right? Because we know that they're starving, that they're hungry, or even drinking water or drinking anything. Like sometimes, like I'm a coffee fanatic, okay? And sometimes even coffee does not taste the same because I just want to have coffee with them or cookies or something. And that too, guys, don't feel shame or anything like that with crying or feeling some type of emotion. Like, I feel like this is also a form of white supremacy, suppressing feelings and emotions. And yes, it's okay to be emotional. especially when situations like this, like if you're not feeling this, if you're not fed up and feeling some type of way, then you're not really, it's not really like you're not living, right? Because this is part of what is going on in the world right now. It's inhumane, right? Another thing that some like spirit was showing me before is like, how is it that Israel has the largest diamond companies or institution or something like that? And I was like, but where are they getting it? Because they don't have an actual state. They don't have a location. I don't understand. So this is where also what we talk about, free Congolinians are dealing with Israel, another type of form of colonization as well, with their diamonds, with the cobalt, with all the same thing with what's happened to Elon Musk, and he's getting all these things from his batteries for his electrical cars, and also the same thing with iPhones. So everything is connected. So this is why anti-capitalism is so important, and it matters to everybody. So at the end of the day, when we're talking about free Palestine, we're actually talking about free everyone, because not only if which it will, it's going to happen. God confirming every single day to me, because I wake up crying every, like now it's like 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning, and just praying and crying and having these nightmares. Like it's like I'm feeling the ancestors of the Palestinians, of the Congo, of the Sudan, and those who are empath. This message is for you as well. You're not alone, okay? You're not. You are feeling everyone. And that's the thing. God does not give his strongest soldier what they cannot handle. And you can handle this, okay? I know I can. I know you can. And those who are bypassing and not talking about this and are continue like, because it's true. I was seeing another post by Greg today. I'll put it in the description below. I mean, if you look at the recent video, there's a video from him, so you can go click it, and then you'll find all the other videos of today, where he talks about that. Like, everyone is silent. Like, all the spiritual little yogi people are silent. All the spiritual new age or whatever, they're all silent. They're not talking about any of those things, talking about retreat, talking about, let's go this way, let's go that way. But it's like, really, in the middle of a genocide, and it's so easy to choose that route, because it is the easy route. And this is something that I was surprised today that I saw. She's been talking about it for a while, but I was like really surprised. Is AOC. There's a post that I'll put it later on Instagram, where I was looking at her stories, and I saw that she was asking a question, and someone said to her, how do we condemn Gaza violence, Hamas, hatred against Jews all at once? And I really like her response. She said, you're doing it, we can do it all. She said, the idea that we cannot stand up to anti-Semitism while defending the human rights of Palestinians is dangerous and wrong. We can prove that we can do both by standing up on both as much as we can, and rejecting the idea that condemnation of anti-Semitism or calls for a ceasefire are a threat to either of those goals, okay? Now, we have to be careful how we use the words and how we rephrase things. For example, there's no two states anymore. That's just cut it out, okay? Or anybody saying that it's complicated, or that... there's a 2-state solution and stuff like that. Like, I know in the beginning, when I started the podcast, if you go a little bit back, this is why I said in the next episode, I'm taking accountability and responsibility for that, because I wasn't that well educated and I needed to educate myself more. And once I did, I was able to understand a little bit deeper. Read a couple more books, got into more, look at other Palestinian content creators, other people, and that's when I was able to understand that that's not an option no more. Like, Israel cannot coexist with, they cannot, okay? Because it's just not possible, especially the same thing with a lot of Jewish communities are speaking up about this, that Zionism cannot coexist with Judaism, okay? So Jewish people cannot coexist with Zionism, like one of the, like, obviously Zionism needs to go, because it's a violence, extreme ideology, a political ideology. It's not actual religion. It's nothing. It's actually demonic, to be honest, satanic rituals and stuff like that. And we all know that, especially those who are psychic mediums. We know we can tap into the energy. We have tapped into the energy. I will go deeper into this in the YouTube channel. Don't know, but so far Father God has given me the green light. He keeps calling me Mr. Healer. And today he kept posting this. I'll put it in the User and Mater podcast post. He says, healing energy flows through you. Okay, so a lot of us is happening to us. It's happening for us, not to us. Okay, so a lot of us, we have mystic or psychic abilities, or, clairvoyant, like some of us have all the clairs, and that's something, it's a gift, and it's something that we need to put it into contest with the same time of also being the advocate and humanitarian advocate for those who are speaking. They're not voiceless, okay? Let me rephrase that. They're not voiceless, they're speaking. And those who cannot speak, we have to speak even louder. For example, what's happening in the Sudan, the blackout, okay? We have to speak even louder for them. They're dealing with famine. They're dealing with a lot of situations. Blackout, where usually when those happens, and we have seen it already with Palestinians, when there's a blackout, when their internet get cut off and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, when they come back, it's like all these, and now it's not even, they don't even need the blackout. Now it's like constantly bombarding. It's constantly, and now they got this new weapon now, which is exposed everywhere on social media. They feel very proud about that, where they actually tested it on a Palestinian boy, and they recorded themselves and posted themselves, hurting this person in the leg and completely breaking their leg. Okay. So a lot of us who are into this, work, we saw that, and we think that is disgusting and inhumane. So a lot of us, yes, at the end of the day, they're cowards, right? Like now, that's what it is. That's all they have. Like if they didn't have these weapons, if they didn't have none of that, like they wouldn't know what to do. They cannot fight. They don't know what to do. They're cowards. Okay. Other than that, I don't know. I'm just feeling like I want to say so much, but at the same time, it's like, it's a lot of healing that we need to do. And I talk about that also, where you see where Slow Story Factory has show a post where they show the brain, where a brain has the pain energy, and then the other one has the empathy. And you see that the empathy, the brain is like more larger and more like less of the pain, like they're able to balance and contain it. And then the other one with the pain, the brain looks like much smaller, and then the pain looks like so spread out and so like fiery, like it's like, and that's what, God like talks about it a lot in the Bible, where it's forgiveness, and forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person, but releasing the surrendering of pain, and that is part of the healing of the spirit, but also of the body, because at the end of the day, we're not separated from our bodies. We are connected to it, and also we are connected to other people, which is exactly where go back to the beginning of what I started saying, this, that us focusing on our joy and our pleasure, and using that and transmute that pain and grief of feeling hopelessness and not able to do anything, because at the end of the day, it is working. Okay, the fact that they spend so much money on a Super Bowl to lie to everyone, okay, it means that it really is working. Okay, so we have to continue talking about Palestine. We have to continue talking about the Sudan and Congo, educating ourselves, continue boycotting, and it also works. Continue protesting. Okay, this also as a form of resistance, we have to continue going, even if they say, oh, everyone is Hamas, like that is their response now. It's because they don't have nothing to say, because at the end of the day, they're justifying killing civilians, women, men, and children, and mostly children. Okay, like there is literally 30,000 Palestinians dead, and half of that is literally like 60% of that is children, okay? And I'm not talking about, this is what has been found, the names that have been found, but then there's people under the rubble. So we can be talking about 100,000 Palestinians, like unalive, slaughter, massacre. This is an ethnic cleansing that these people, also, not only that, guys, there's also I don't know if it's their prime minister or some chick. I can't stand her. I can't even say her name because I can't stand her. But most of y'all, you know who I'm talking about. This old lady. How she talks about that she needs to constantly brainwash people. That she constantly has to tell them, like, yeah, it's like a normal for them. For them, it's normal to be violent, to be barbaric, to be genocidal maniacs. Okay, they think that they're doing the right thing, and we all, oh my God, inshallah, we know that they're not, right? Our moral compass they've been trying to not only program and condition people, which they have done it with most Zionist people who were supposed to be good Jews, but they're not, okay? But the thing is, the majority of Jewish people, the real Jews, okay, they're not okay with this. They're not okay with this fake-ass apartheid state, it's a legal occupation, okay? It's illegal. It has been illegal occupation. This is land theft. And the ethnic cleansing is for them to, completely eradicate the Palestinians so that they can say that they were in the land, that they took the land. Also, they steal their culture. They steal everything. These people, they don't have an identity. They don't have a culture. So this is why they take it from everybody, what most colonizers do, right? Also, this obsession with children and kidnapping. Recently, they kidnapped like 12 doctors. And then the other day they released 2, and you see the pictures of them being tortured and all kinds of stuff. So this week, literally, they took 12 from Nasser hospital, and then bomb hospital. They have sniper killing people inside the hospital. How are we, we can't normalize this. Come on, guys. This is documented. We have to write all this thing down, because at the end of the day, they're going to try to erase and make themselves feel, because they're already doing it. Today, there was a post today, and I was like, wait, this guy did what? What's his name? Some loser. Because he's a loser, for real. What's that post? I was like, wait, did he just really said that? He really said that. I'm going to try to find it. Wait. Ugh. I think I didn't save it because I was like, oh, I don't want to, this is so dumb. Today, this guy, what's his name? Israel Foreign Minister Eli Cohen. If the price of reaching peace agreements is a Palestinian state, then I give up the peace agreements. There will be no Palestinian state. This is their worst nightmare. But the thing is because they know, when you're guilty of something that you shouldn't be doing, they know that if they actually give back Palestinians back, and not only just them, it's also Canada, USA, UK, all of them. They have never seen, there has never happened where there is an empathy system, where there's equality system. They don't know what that is. Right? So this is why their worst nightmare is people decolonizing, is people resistant, is people, standing up to this, is people literally giving back to the Palestinians what has been taken from them. Right? Right now, they're pushing the 1.446 million Palestinians that they only have left in the south of Gaza and Rafah, all the way to Egypt. And they're saying, no, they're not gonna, this is the safe area. But literally on the Super Bowl, they start bombing them and kill a bunch of people, right? Mostly children. And now they're saying they're not gonna push into Egypt, but Egypt is already creating this whole space where they're gonna put the Palestinians if they are displaced there. Can you believe that? Like, try to, like, this is why I don't understand, and now I get it, why the system, the institutions and corporation and the education system as well is guilty as well, has constantly created a space in your mind, most of y'all, not to have empathy for other people, not to have empathy for others, because empathy requires work. Empathy requires for you to put yourself in the situations of another person that is being wrongly injustice done, horribly treated, abused in all type of way, and then realize, like, damn, if I wouldn't do that to anybody, why would I do that to that person? Or why would I even think of that? So basically, a lot of us, what I was talking about, that we're going to talk about here, it's not having critical thinking. A lot of people are lacking this, and this is intentional. Okay? Father God wants to remind you guys, it's intentional. Okay? Critical thinking not only comes from having empathy, right? But also comes from understanding what you're seeing, what you're feeling, and what other people are going through, and not just centering yourself, not just centering your privilege, right? So removing that supremacy, white supremacy, that colonial mindset, that poverty mindset, that and the anti-Semitic, right? Because that's what they're putting out there. They're constantly using specific words to validate and justify their wrongdoing, their war crimes, right? And when we talk about war crimes, this is something that it needs to be addressed as well, and you need to use discernment and understand what I'm trying to say here. There cannot be a war if there's no both sides having military equipment and stuff. We're talking about one having extreme support and funding with their taxes, okay, Canadian taxes, yes, with other country taxes, right? Help from really large countries, mostly genocidal maniacs as well, and, helping them, get these weapons, get this gun. And now, right now, we have Yemen that has been suffering even more because they're been trying to stop a genocide. They've been blocking in the Red Sea those weapons to come to Gaza to continue murdering, massacring children and women and men, right? So they're also suffering also, it's some type of punishment, right? Because there's that punishment energy where it's mostly comes from colonial energy, right? So stuff like that. So what I'm trying to say is that these are the countries that help this Israel and, fake ass state, because it's not a state. It doesn't exist. It doesn't. It's an illusion. It's an illusion that has been bought. It has been propaganda. It has been, and don't come with me with like, oh, but where the Israel is going to go? Where are they going to go? They can go anywhere they want. Anywhere. They have the money. They have the resources. They have plenty of access. You know what they're scared about is that when all of this ends and the Palestinians get their land back and they get everything back, they're scared that people are going to look at them differently. This is what the real Jews are trying to prevent, because they have never wanted any trouble or conflict between the Palestinians. They wanted to coexist and live in the same land. But Zionists and British had to come in with all fucking bullshit kakalaka, which also happened. This happened 1948. This is happening way before. Way before. This did not happen October 7th, okay? We need to let that go. October 7th happened is a form of resistance for constantly being fucking attacked, murder, and dealing with illegal occupation. Okay? If you have people poking the bear every fucking day and killing your family and stuff like that, you're not going to resist? You're going to stay okay, yeah, Please, stop. Now everybody's being punished for not only resisting all these genocidal, maniac, crazy psycho bitches, right? But now we also have to deal with the censorship and all the constantly monitoring and the stalking. Like, there's this heavy stuff. And also dealing with people who are supporters, who mostly are paid by Zionists, right? Or, to monitor you, or to, you know what I'm saying? They promise everything, the world to them, right? But at the end of the day, I bet you 100% they cannot commit to those things that they're promising to people. It's just what it is. These people are fucking liars. They're psychological liars, and also obsessed with weird ass, with children, right? Let's keep it real. I don't know. Anybody who supports Zionists, I just see you as a pedophile now. And that's why It's weird. It's weird. It's a weird energy. You know what I'm saying? Because they're so vocal about it as well. If you look at it on social media, if you look at their pages, like any Zionists, any IDF, any of them, that's all they talk about. In a weird and like obsessed with rape, obsessed with like children, obsessed with like, and as soon as, you caught them and they get caught, they start playing the victim or blaming other people for calling them out, which is really weird. It's very weird. Pay attention to that. A lot of you pay attention to when people like you really caught them. And now they're trying to trigger your buttons, right? They're trying to trigger to see like, try to see like, okay, let me get you mad or rowdy or something like that so that I can show you the world that you're the one who's crazy, that you're the one that's wrong with it. You're the one that has a mental illness, but you're supporting people who are literally doing a genocide, ethnic cleansing, also kidnapping children and people and stuff like that. And God knows what is it that they do in these prisons and stuff like that, right? But there's a God out there that sees everything. Everything. And it's a matter of time. They're not going to this is not going to be for long. That's for sure. Now, what I wanted to say also was that we have one side of the Palestinians that are like these people barely have any equipment. Whatever they had, it was given before October 7th by Netanyahu himself. So whatever they have to defend themselves is basically not as sophisticated. But then again, these people have God. That's all you need, really, to be honest. And yeah, most of them, they still haven't been able to get to them. They still, they're being asking for the permanent ceasefire. They were able to get to a peace treaty or something, but this person does not want to give this away. He keeps saying, no, there's no ceasefire, there's none of that, there's no, you know what I'm saying? Why? Because he knows that he's responsible of massacre about 100,000 Palestinians, and 60% of that is children. Okay, that is blood on his hands, and also on Biden as well. Trudeau as well. Everybody else who have funded this, they all guilty. They all have that. And also this has been revealed to us. Thank you to Motaz, Wissam, all the other journalists from Gaza, right? From Palestinians, and also all the content creators as well that have been voicing, hasn't stopped, And a lot of us, it's something that I was thinking that I'm like, even if I'm tired, even if I'm going through stuff, like I was just like, okay, how can I still continue going, even though when we go through this, we go through our own journey, our own thing, and we have to do our own inner work, shadow work, our own decolonization as well while we're doing this. It's like while we are fueling ourselves with, the grief and the pain with the Palestinians as well, because it's not possible that you can never understand what they're going through. It's just beyond, like, you just can't, okay? But you can empathize with them. You can be there for them. You can be out of service. You can say, okay, how can I be a support for you? How can I support you? How can I do this? So a lot of us, some of us are doing hunger strike. For a lot of us, happy Ramadan, okay? And it's so difficult to even say that because I can just imagine that not only they have been doing Ramadan, okay, for before all of this, before it started, but a lot of us, the Christian community, those who actually care for this situation when we're doing the Lent, it's called, I don't know, we say ceniza in Spanish. The day of ceniza is like where there's like 40 days where Jesus was, and that's something that I want to emphasize that too, where in the Bible there's a lot of quotes and there's a lot of things that talks about this, but it's something that we always have to remember, that it says it very clear, and this is something that it's not really talked about, and maybe just the Christian community or the evangelist or whatever community, it just doesn't matter. It's just the point is that we're supposed to be there for the poor. We're supposed to be there for the homeless. We're supposed to advocate for others who need our voice. We're supposed to let go of our ego and our privilege and be there for others. There's a lot of things that has been kind of like ignored or put on the side, and then read other scriptures that benefit themselves. Like there's a lot of prophet, quote unquote, or people that are constantly quoting Bibles and stuff like that. Like even including myself, like I'm quoting certain quotes that relates to what's going on in Palestine, what's going on in Congo and Sudan, and then I'm not focusing on the other ones where, you know, there's repentance, there is the, you know, forgiveness, there is the reconciliation, only when that is required, right? Because when God says you're not going to reconcile, you're not going to. And a lot of people, Palestinians, are already forgiving, but also are not forgiving or forgetting. Like they're not in that stage, and we shouldn't demand that of that, and we shouldn't be upset of how they deal with their grief or their own you know, way of form of resistance or form of you know, expressing themselves. I think that's something that is so sacred, is their sacred grief, okay, at the end of the day. So this is something where I wrote it in my notes that me and Father God have been talking about, that where, you know, we can't really, like, we're not judges. God is the judge. So we can't judge those people. We can't judge anybody, because at the end of the day, we're not judges. We're not here to judge anybody, right? So even considering that does not even, it just makes it like a little bit, like not a little bit, it makes it like hypocritical, to be honest. Okay. So yeah. Okay, so we talk about no critical thinking. Make sure that you're reading books, using discernment, talking to God. God is the best of critical thinker, okay? He gives us, when you pray for discernment and nurture your intuition on a daily basis, he will make sure that you have this critical thinking. Now, a lot of people do not have this skill, okay? It's a skill that you have to nurture. It's a skill that you have to educate yourself, and it comes from the colonization. It comes from operating outside of the status quo, operating on an anti-capitalist, anti-colonial, mindset, and no more oppression, not dealing with, you know what I'm saying, and being there for the oppressed, right? And even if if you're privileged and don't have that certain energy, that's okay. Just continue advocating for that. So the other thing that he wanted me to talk about was that prayer is a form of resistance. So during this Ramadan, a lot of Muslims, a lot of Arabs, they're in that energy where they're praying, they're fasting, right? There's a fasting, and it could be for hours, and that too is like, imagine those Palestinians because Palestinians is not only Muslim, like there's Christian Palestinians, there are evangelist Palestinians, there's LGBTQ Palestinians, there's trans Palestinians. Like we also have to remember the queer Palestinians. They're all inclusive, and they're all included in that. And that's something that, AOC was talking about as well in her stories, where she was talking about that in the Bible, Jesus was all about, in all his stories, like if you read his story, like for real, don't skip it, and don't just go to areas where you feel that it's about you, that like that's super privileged, and ignorant, okay? If you want to do the real spiritual awakening, right? And, you really have to understand it. You really have to read his story, that he never excludes anybody. Never. If anything, he's always there for people who are the most unfortunate, right? The people that cannot help themselves, that they're sinners, right? That they're, he's not there for people who are already healed, who already think they're the best or all of that. No. He's there for those who cannot, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, there's also that we have to also acknowledge and learn, not be so ignorant about it, and learn from different cultures, learn from different religions, because they're all connected at the end of the day. They're all him as well. Christ consciousness is all the religions. It's all of them. It's not just Christianity. And I know this is going to piss a lot of Christians and a lot of with your religious spirit talking, right? The same people that tell you that having crystals and, that invites demonic spirits and stuff like that. No, anybody who, let me just repeat myself. I've talked about this before. I need you to understand something. When a person tells you that having crystals on you or having crystals in your home, that is a portal that invites demonic spirits, stay the fuck away from that person. First of all, they're telling you already what kind of demonic spirits they're operating at. Okay. Second, they're telling you that the crystals that you have, specific ones that they know that you have or they're feeling it's actually irritating their demons, and their demons actually might leave their body because they cannot be in the same space. Okay, they cannot. This is why crystals, selenite, amethyst, and also that's something that I was talking, like in the Bible, there's many crystals and rocks that they're talking about in there, that it talks about that you create a certain sigil, a certain protection as well. You can do it in your home, or you can carry some with you, not idolize it, because that's something that is blasphemy when you idolize these crystals and all that stuff. I don't idolize them. I just use them as a protection tool for this vessel. Because at the end of the day, I know and I have faith and believe that God, my spirit is protected by God. But this vessel is weak. This flesh is weak. I also use crystal to prevent myself from temptation, from thinking negative thoughts or sinning or, any adultery or something like that. Like that's actually helpful. Also, I use crystals to also prevent myself from going back to addictive situations where I was having a hard time overcoming. Right? But then again, I couldn't overcome that without prayer, without fasting, without, connecting with God and having that relationship. But he guided me to have a specific crystal that helps me to reduce the amount of, for example, I used to drink a lot. So now I don't drink anymore. So I have a specific crystals that I use, that I keep on me, that help me maintain that stability. For example, amethyst is a very, very good for the crown chakra in the third eye. So once you're open, right, you become extra sensitive, right? So this is a form of protection, not only to keep the connection with source, to keep the connection with God, not idolizing the crystals or any form, for a lot of y'all, if you pray with rosary as well, that's a form of also idolizing, right? So learn to discern, because everybody is different. A lot of you have different ancestors, you have different angels, you have different guides. Okay, so everybody is not the same. Everyone is different. But at the end of the day, we only serve and have one God. Okay, we all do. And you can't put God in a box. He likes to be in different cultures and different religions and different things. And this is why we have to respect everyone. We cannot judge or compare or be in competition with anybody. God didn't create us to be like that. That's the enemy working. That's white supremacy working. That's racism working. Okay? You have to recognize those things. This is why the colonization is so, so, so important. Okay? Another thing. When you use crystals, you have to activate them in a form of prayer. You can't activate it. This is why there's people who use these type of tools for the wrong way, because the spirituality can go both ways. It can go for the really bad, satanic, demonic, dark magic, witchcraft, and then there can be the light, which is the light worker. There is the really prayers and healing and shamanic healing and medium and mediumship and like most of what I do, it's crystal healing, but also I'm more into the mystic and psychic medium more. But eventually we'll be into the crystal healing once I'm guided to do that. For now, I've been guided to not do none of that. And also, guys, don't get scammed. I do not do personal readings. I do not. Okay? I don't. And when I do, I usually announce it on the community board on the YouTube channel or here or in my social media. But I don't do that. So please do not get scammed. Okay? All the platforms that I'm at right now are active in my description below of here and on the YouTube channel. Okay. Anything other than that, that's not me. Okay. Now, prayer is a form of resistance. So praying for the Palestinians every day, in the morning, in the nighttime, doing a fasting for them, joining Ramadan, even though for a lot of you, you're not Muslim. I believe that is a beautiful form of showing God that you're supportive, but also that you're willing to give your energy to someone in Rafah, or send them energy or protection so that they can survive another night. They can survive another day. They can survive another day with dealing with hunger until the humanitarian aid is open, until they're able to, you know what I'm saying? Like this is another way that also we can be there. Sign in petition, guys. You have to sign petitions, okay? Whenever you see petitions, sign them, okay? Make sure that you're sharing the content. They're already Palestinians. Like really, like if you haven't been there, it's okay. Anytime, and it's better late than never, okay? because we have to stop this, right? It's not right, and we should not continue this, okay? I don't think a lot of us, if we were in the Holocaust during the Auschwitz and all that stuff, I don't think we wouldn't allow this long. We wouldn't allow, right? We wouldn't. But we also have to understand that there's some prejudice and some disconnect, how do you say it? Dissociation or condensant dissonancy or dissonance. Oh my God, I can't even say it. But what I'm trying to say is that we can't be that racist. It's not possible. Like, just because they're Palestinians, just because they have a different culture, a different religion, it does not mean that that makes them less than other people. So a lot of y'all, if this is what you've been thinking, that please remove that from, I rebuke it in the name of Jesus, for real. Like, that is a lie from the pit of hell, and you should not have that type of ideology. Everyone is the same. We all bleed the same. We all have the same blood. We just have different melanin, okay? It's just what it is. Yes, others are more protected than others. Others have more spiritual ranking than others, but that doesn't mean that they're still the same people, that they deserve the same dignity, that they deserve the same compassion and empathy and God, like, humanity. Like, it's just, I don't know what's going on. Like, where is the people's heart? You know what I'm saying? So Father God is asking you guys to remember that prayer is a form of resistance, okay? Even when people feel some type of way that you pray, or that you're fasting, or that you're, advocating for others, like, I find like creating content is a form of prayer, because you're creating content and putting their voices out there for those who cannot post anymore. Like, they cannot, like, there's some areas in the West Bank where they cannot communicate anymore. There's some areas in the Sudan, like, they cannot, like, most of the Sudan and Congo and all the stuff, like, they cannot document what the Palestinians are able to do, okay? Right? Because they have, monitoring people and stuff like that. And the government and stuff, like, watching them, like, threatening them that they're going to hurt their families, or they're going to, you know what I'm saying? So just be there for others, like, have empathy, And I know a lot of people feel some type of way that I'm constantly talking about this or something that way, but that's the point. Like, it's ridiculous to even, like, not talk about this or not even care. Like, no. So this is where it comes in, the psychosis, okay? So let's look it up. What's psychosis, right? Because a lot of us, psychosis. Let's look it up, okay? So right now, most of the advocates and most of the Palestinians are also understanding this as, like, it's just not possible that people are that delusional and other stuff. But then if we go deeper, I will tap into this, into the energy. So after this podcast, there's going to be energy where I will tap into to explain it more deeper through my ancestors and angels, okay? And hey, maybe Holy Spirit himself, because he's been talking about this psychosis, and I see it also in other advocates are talking about it too. So I know Holy Spirit is trying to deliver a message for someone or for a lot of y'all to understand. And again, this is, God reveals to redeem, but also is to remove this illusion. It could be some type of very intense spell work or illusionist, or some type of situation that happens during the nighttime, because these people are all constantly doing rituals and stuff like that. Again, this is why they use the pain, suffering, torturing, even killing, right? Or using death already. Corpses, organs and stuff like that. So this is why a lot of people don't want to, they're like, oh, but that's not possible. Like I saw this quote today and I was thinking, I'm like, man, this is exactly that. Like, and where did it go? It's funny that I deleted it, but there was something that I talk about. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. So things that are not conspiracy theories. Sex trafficking. We talk about that in that video where we talk about that Meta has been, okay, Meta and Instagram with pedophiles, right? And also that we know that in Israel, they've been trying to legalize and be okay with pedophilia, right? So that is not a conspiracy theory. That's actually facts. There's articles. There's all kinds of stuff. So you can look it up, okay? Government corruption, we already know. We see it. Thank you for Palestinians, right? Palestinians, they have shown us how corrupt our governments, the major countries, how corrupt they are, okay? And how they will do anything for greedy, selfish, and, money, right? Also, how they already have established, or already after they wiped out everybody from the north, they're already putting, there's already people that they're extracting either gas or oil from these kind of areas, but also they're already establishing, they're going to have settlements. They're going to have people, living there, right? After they just wiped out, massacre a lot of people, right? Media manipulation. We actually seen that propaganda, what happened in the Super Bowl, right? The whole dad situation and blah, blah, blah. But then at the background, they were bombing and killing a bunch of dads, right? Palestinian dads. So I guess other people have the rights and are worthy to live, but other people are not, right? Again, media manipulation to continue, occupation to continue, the injustices, and also capitalism, right? And this is what white supremacy entails. But again, someone said talk about this, bigotry, right? Ignorance is a form of bigotry. Food modification, we also know this. Those who are climate activists or who have been studying this, we know how GMO and all this food modification also can have a huge effect on our health. This is why we have the rise of cancer in the lungs, those who smoke a lot. This is something that you need to look into, especially if I would suggest, to be honest, those who are smokers, make sure that you are not smoking as much during the winter, because again, we have lack of oxygen. We have our oxygen level is low, and due to the environment and due to the bombing and stuff like that in Gaza, those things come to our area in the north here in North America, okay, and South America, anywhere in the world. It's not, you cannot escape what's going on in that area, right? And that is going to affect our lungs, our respiratory system, okay? So it is also affecting our food system. Okay, it does affect the growth, the crops, and all that stuff. So that's something to think about for those who are smoking, those who also are drinking a lot. Alcohol is a form of poison. Okay, so I would suggest moderated more I would say moderate any other time. To be honest, this is why I also respect a lot Muslim people, because they do not drink. And I see why after I became non-alcoholic, I haven't drank in a long time. I think the last time I drank, it was maybe the New Year's Eve, but not even. That's New Year's Eve now, way before, maybe maybe Christmas. But after New Year's Eve, I just stopped everything. I just quit it, and I feel much better. My body feels lighter and everything feels better. Same thing with smoking, no more. Okay, and that's another thing that I would suggest a lot of y'all do 21 Daniel fasting. Talk to God about this to help you, okay? Because, and that too is those things, they lost the numbing. I didn't want to numb myself during this time anymore. I wanted to feel everything, and I am feeling everything, and I see how important it is. And I'm so grateful for God, because he really showed me that not everybody is your friend, not everybody is with you, and really stick to communities and stay in unity with people that resonate with you, that they care about people, that they're loyal, that they have empathy. You want people that have empathy in your circle if you have it, if you're an empath or empathetic, and also don't take away that individualistic new age bullshit kakalaka that is colonial as well, to think that being alone, I need to be alone, or self-care or stuff like that, or I can't look at social media right now, it's too political or whatever like that. That conversation, that talk is so colonial and is so not healthy, okay? But at the end of the day, I'm done with the shaming. I'm not shaming these people anymore. I feel like God already is doing his work, especially showing them how miserable and sad they really are. And then they continue trying to help people or trying to create content that is not related to this. And then there's God is removing their joy, their satisfaction. And that, for me, that is the form of punishment from God, because I don't want that to be away from me. My joy, my enjoyment of creating and helping people and healing people, and knowing that it could help them. Like for me, it fuels me even more the more the censorship and the more like trying to silence me, or the more attacks and all that stuff. Like now, like I really understand that scripture, like God rejoice when you're being prosecuted, because they hate me more at the end of the day. Like they hated Jesus more than you. Like, and now I understand what he meant now, because I'm going through the situation. But those people who pretend that they know what that means, they're not talking about this. They're not talking about Palestine, Free Sudan, or Congo, or they're not helping anybody, and they're just silent about it. They don't really understand. And unfortunately, they will never will. And I'm just going to leave it like that. Continue that delusional, continue what you think you're doing. But I'm just letting you know that it's much harder. How do I say this? The conviction, being convicted by God, it's completely different for a lot of us. Okay? So, but I feel pity and I feel sad for those people. I used to. Now I'm just focusing my energy on other things. On maybe, putting that energy somewhere else, instead of like I'm just letting it go and letting God, because at the end of the day, he knows what's best at the end of the day. Okay, so we talk about that. No critical thinking. It's not good not to have no critical thinking, okay? And you can tell. You just tell. Okay? The other thing that I was saying is censoring of factual information, okay? That is something that is happening to us. You can see it on my YouTube channel. The views and everything's going down. Every time I post I mix the content with other content creators. It's always, and Instagram was the same thing. Last night it was happening around 3 to 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I was looking at something and I couldn't they were just blocking everything I would do, or I would save or stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I see what you mean. So yeah, anybody who is, pro-Palestine, okay, this is what they're doing, okay? And it's not just pro-Palestine, it could be for Sudan, Congo, even Yemen as well. Like all the countries that they're, colonizing, right? That they're trying to extract resources, steal land, steal culture, steal ideas, steal creativity. Like these people have no personality. They don't have identity. They have to steal it from other people. Again, demonic spirits. Because at the end of the day, we are fighting not of the flesh, but spirits, okay? And these are very, very toxic energies, okay? Especially because they're not repenting. They're not seeing what they're doing wrong. They're not taking accountability and responsibility. But that's not our job. We're not their mama. We're not their papa. We're not their God. They need Jesus, right? They need God, and that's not our problem. Our problem is being obedient. It's being obedient, okay? Now, it says, regardless of your political affiliation, this stuff is happening. You're not crazy for believing it. You're crazy for ignoring it, okay? It's a post, very good post, I think. Now, so we talk about lack of empathy, which is equal to having no remorse, guilt, which is a danger zone, okay? I did talk about the whole content is about not having empathy, okay? It's about that, right? Lack of empathy just doesn't help anybody at this point, which is also summarizes all of that. So, basically, this podcast that I wanted to start from the beginning, but I guess we're going from the end, the end to the beginning. So 81 was what he wanted me to. He kept saying, "Keep your heart open, keep your heart open." So I started being obedient about that. I said, "Okay, how can I keep my heart open even though like I'm shattering, like my heart is broken, is shattered into a million pieces, is constantly grieving for mothers and fathers and those children with losing their parents and being orphans or their starvation, all those children with watching like just hungry and not having water, or the lack of sanitary services or medical care. Like how how does this work, and it's difficult when you ask these questions. So that's why it's like I can only talk to God about this. So certain things I will mention, but other things I keep it to between me and God. So a lot of you, this is why it's so important to have a relationship with him, because there's certain things that are just between you and him that is sacred, that you can keep it in your little bubble, in your little box, where it keeps you going, where it keeps you moving forward, and then it gives you strength and courage and bravery, so that you can continue standing out for those who need us to be there for them, okay? To stand up for them, to go to protest for them, to call their representatives, to send emails, to post every day. By the way, posting and doing this type of work, it requires a lot of energy, a lot. And the only source that I can get that energy, that strength, is from God. So that's why what I'm telling you, and not only God, sometimes I channel, like when I talk to God, we have a conversation, or we are meditating together. I use some of my crystals. I use selenite. I use amethyst, or all the other, I don't know, jasper. Jasper is a beautiful energy to see the truth to a bunch of lies. So jasper is a beautiful energy to have with you as a bracelet, or as in your pockets, like a little tiny rock. Like, it does wonders. There's angelique as well. Angelique is also beautiful for communicators, for those who work with content creation and communication, those who are podcasters, those who need to be speaking in public speaking, or need to be speaking in public and protesting, or public spaces. Not only it protects your throat chakra, it actually channels Archangel Michael or Raphael, or any of them, to protect you while during those protests, or during those talks that you have to do in front of millions of people, right? The same thing when you're protesting, you're surrounded by different energies, different people. Also, I will suggest mix it up, Angelique and Jasper, and also mix it up, but first activate it with the Jesus prayer, the prayer that he taught us, right? Activated with that, so that way the Holy Spirit's in those rocks, and you're able to channel that, and you'll be able to connect, because we are all not separated, we're all connected. So you channel those things, and then you're able to identify, because a lot of people are saying that there's Zionists dressed as Palestinians wearing the thing. You will know who they are immediately with these rocks, and also having Holy Spirit within you. You will know who they are. You will identify them, and you will call them out, or you stay away. This is why they tell you not to use these crystals, because they're so powerful when activated the right way. And I just give you the key. I just pass you the key. I just pass you the torch. Okay? Activate them properly. You can do this. If you're doing this type of work, you need to armor yourself. Not only with the word of God, not only with prayers, not only with fasting. You have to also use tools that are needed. So a lot of you, if you're dealing with a lot of financial problems, struggles, and stuff like that, activate citrine. Citrine is good for a financial situation. A lot of you, you're dealing with a lot of financial things, but also you could have people doing stuff on your finances right now. They're jealous and envious because you're advocating for these people, for Palestine, which, by the way, they're chosen. They are the chosen. Most of us advocating for the chosen, we are their protectors. We are their protectors. That's our job. Also, we are the protectors of those outside of Rafah, outside of Gaza as well. A lot of you don't see that, but I see it. God has indicated me specific people that are in my care, in my prayers, that they have to be in my prayers every single day. Do you understand? That's what being obedient is. That's why prayers is a form of resistance. That's why having critical thinking, which is exactly as discernment is. This is why when we talk about the situation with psychosis. Yes, sorry. Thank you, Father God. We researched psychosis and we didn't get there. 1 second. Wow, this took longer than I was expecting. As usual, it's what it is. Okay, so the first, I wanted to say a scripture today that he was giving me. That's my cat confirming, yes, I'm going, I will. All right, so this is Jonah 2, verse 2. And he said, in my distress, I called to the Lord, and he answered me. From deep in the realm of the dead, I call for help, and you listen to my cry. Yes, Baba. That's my cat. If you hear him. Usually he comes in whenever there's energy or negative energy, that he comes and like wipes it out. Guys, having a cat is a beautiful thing, okay? Not only they're very protective, but also they see what you cannot see, okay? But I usually suggest this for people who are psychic mediums, and you tap into energy and you're very spiritual, and you're also advocating for those who are dealing with injustice and being oppressed. I would definitely suggest to have a cat, because that's help a lot. The other scripture that he gave me today was John 3, verse 16, and it reads, "For this is how God loved the world. He gave his one and only Son, so that everyone who believes in him will not perish, but have eternal life." Okay? Something about that, just marinate it, keep it inside, but it's something about a lot of us, when we are in that Christ consciousness, we don't judge. We tend to less judging. I mean, it is good to judge for certain things because you need that for certain situations. For example, like discerning, seeing propaganda, seeing the lies, seeing the truth through the lies, and be able to discern and make the best decision that you can make. But also, stand up to other people when you can, because a lot of people, some of you are also advocating for those who cannot, voice out this. They could be dealing with immigration. They could be dealing with certain situations where they cannot speak for certain things. They have certain jobs that they cannot communicate this type of things, that they wish that they could talk, but they're with you, they're supporting you, they're signing petition, they're donating whenever they can, but they cannot vocalize stuff like this. So a lot of us, we take the weight for those people as well. So be aware of that. But there are certain things where, like, for example, like I was saying in the video today, I was talking about the fact that I wish that I could tell these two people that were saying that the two sides are creating propaganda, and this is why, and I really wanted to, so this is why God wanted me to, speak it up here. There was a situation where it was, I can't give too much detail because heavily monitored. But what I will say is that this person is a mother, right? And the way that she was talking about that the two-state solution, or that the two sides are making propaganda, and all I could think of is how can you say that when, how does that even, but she was trying to justify the fact that she has stopped. The lady was telling her, oh, but you were so invested in social media and stuff like that, and this person has stopped being in social media because she said, oh, I was crying all the time, I had months crying and stuff like that. But all I can think of, the lady was like, well, what are you crying for? Oh, both sides is a propaganda, both of them were lying, right? But that's her excuse, as she was saying. But the fact is that she was actually afraid to be vulnerable and say that she was actually having empathy for the Palestinians. But because this person who she was speaking was probably a Zionist, right, or a Jewish person, because for sure they were Jewish, for sure. And they were having this inner turmoil of well, if I tell her that I was actually crying for Palestine, how this person's gonna look at me, how are they gonna think of me, right? But it was she'd rather lie even more, that these people are lying to someone in front, because she was afraid of how this person will look at her, right? Or how the whole community, because even me myself, I know that I'm not that welcome in this community, but because I have some type of situation that I have to be there, then they have to tolerate me, right? But then we don't necessarily need to be friends. We don't necessarily need to be, in each other's life and stuff like that. We don't talk about. But even voicing that out in front of all these people and all these, that's why I felt I was but God, why can't I talk? But I knew that if I say something like that I wasn't be able to be in that space anymore, which I need to be in that space for other reasons. But I'm just letting people know that there are situations like this where we have to kind of and it's not that it's that we shouldn't, but there are certain places and things that we can talk about these things. For example, at home you can talk about this, or for some of you, if you're allowed to talk about these things. But talking about the situation also helps to liberate some people, some idealistic condition or some resistance, right? Or even that pain that they store in their brain and trying to lie to themselves and lie to other people, right? So I'm not making excuses. I felt really shitty because I wanted to say to them, like, it's not actual true, right? Like, what I really wanted to say was, like, it's not true. One of them is actually investing millions of dollars to create more propaganda, to lie to people like you and me, right, about this. And then the other one is actually literally exposing their truth and revealing their truth through social media so that we can see it and advocate for them and stop it. They're completely different things, right? But yeah, I feel like I want to, the next time I have this opportunity, I want to do this, but I feel like I need to find the right words in the right way without, because that's another thing. It's like, oh, well, these people, they're not afraid to, but it's not a fear. It's not out of fear that I'm not standing up for that. It's out of the fact that it took me a while to be in this place that I am now. There's no excuse. I don't have any excuse. And I don't want to create excuses for it. I just, yeah, there's no excuse. I just need to word this better. Or when I am in that situation again, to voice it out better. But I also have to be obedient because at that time, Father God was like, not yet. You will speak, but not yet. You cannot talk about this yet. You will talk about it in your channel. You talk about it in your podcast, but not yet. Not now. So I'll know when will be the right time to speak with this person, or when would I have that opportunity to see that person again. And I will talk to them on the side, and then explain without causing any drama or tribulation, because I know I will, obviously. But things like this is that we also have to, like, just like I tell you guys, like, we have to do this. We have to talk about it. It is good to talk about it. And especially in spaces like you catch people like this, so that you are able to educate and you're able to converse and get to a good conversation about this, But I'm sharing that experience so that way you guys know that not only because of that situation, I do talk about it in other places, but this specific place where most of them are, for sure, I know that either they're Zionists, they're pretending to be Jews, and they're not really Jewish, and they have this toxic ideology. But maybe it's I felt like I was the only person. So that's another thing that made me realize that community is so important and being unity is so important, because by yourself, dealing with a bunch of Zionists, barbaric and people, and they're not acting barbaric. That's the thing. They're acting like a normal human person, or like normal, like, and that's the weirdest thing for me. And it's so super, I'm still going to therapy for that, because there's people that think it's okay to kill children, and that pedophilia is normalized, or normalizing bombing hospitals and stuff like that. But then they go to normal meetings and normal thing as if nothing is happening, and they didn't just said horrible things and acting as if it's normal what they just said or spoke about, or what they believe, or you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, it's crazy. They see that with us. They see us, those who are pro-Palestinians, as there's something wrong with us. Like, oh, they have to be pro-Hamas and stuff like that. Like, that's how brainwash and propaganda has worked on them. And they think that it's right, and it's not. So we also have to call them out whenever we can, and face that, and be discerning enough to know, like, wait, this is not, like, be on the right side of history. That's really it, okay? And then those who are not, you can try to educate them, but at one point, if there's nothing you can do, just let them be, okay? They need God. You're not their God. You're not their father or mother, okay? All right. Okay, so I wanted to say, give a shout out to those of my community here on Spotify and the other platforms, okay? So there's a lot of countries here. There's a lot of people from the United States. Hello. Canada. I have Germany, Nigeria, India, Romania, United Kingdom. Hello. Kenya, New Zealand, Australia, and Dominican Republic. Hey, que lo que? Mi hermano. Ethiopia, yo. We have Finland, Russia, interesting. United Arab Emirates, okay. We have Saudi Arabia, we have France, and Liberia, okay. So shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for your support, for listening, for sharing. Very interesting audience I have, that's for sure. Also, I have mostly a lot of women, so I'm actually really glad about that. Hey, a lot of empowerment, that's what we're here for also. But we also have men, okay? It's very beautiful, very in a lot of beautiful queer community. I love that, okay? Non-binary, all right? Everyone is welcome here, okay? I just want to reveal enough information, help you guys in this journey, but also remember that we are here to not only enlighten people and get into deeper spirituality, but also advocating for those who are dealing with injustices and oppression. And obviously, we're here to stop the genocide, free ceasefire, and free Palestine, right? That's what we're here for. Now, I want to mention the names that have been kidnapped, okay? The occupation abducted a number of medical staff and displaced people from the Nasser complex, including, so this is Dr. Ahmed Moussa, okay? So those who, I'm mentioning the names because they have names, they're not numbers, okay? And that's something that I'm learning through other conversation that I have seen on social media as well, to learn that they have a name, they have their stories, and that needs to be respected, okay? So there's Dr. Ahmed Moussa, Dr. Bayan Shurab, Dr. Ayad Shakwota, I hope I'm saying that right, I'm sorry if I'm not, Professor Abu Anas Abdul Hadi, Dr. Mahamoud Shekhade, Dr. Ahmed Al-Samiri, Dr. Nahed Abu Taima, Dr. Khaled Al-Sad, and Dr. Allah Barka. Okay? Just the source is Dr. Mohammed Dalhan. Okay? This is from Shireen Palestine. All right? Content. All right? I just think that we should, they have names, okay? And they deserve respect and dignity, and this should have never happened. These are doctors, and obviously there's a professor, so there's someone here who was actually, in the medical complex, and So there's no need for them to do this, okay? This is barbaric. This is disgusting, and this is part of the ethnic cleansing genocide that they're planned, right? This is the oppressor book energy, right? So just want to clear that up, all right? Now, one thing that Father God wanted me to say as well, where's the scripture, Father God? I think it's today. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Father God. Do you see he put the scripture that I was looking for? It was on Saturday. Well, while I'm doing this podcast on a Saturday, but it's just funny he did that. Okay, so the first scripture is the book of Isaiah, 58, 9b to the 14. And this says the Lord, when you remove oppression, the pointing finger and slander from you, when you offer to the hungry what is yours and satisfy the afflicted souls, your light will shine in the darkness. Your darkness like noon, the Lord will always guide you. He will satisfy your soul in scorched land. He will give strength to your bones. You will be a well-watered garden, a spring of waters that do not deceive. Your people will rebuild the ancient ruins. You will raise again the foundations of other times. They will call you repairer of breaches, restorer of path, to make the country habitable. If you stop your step on Saturday, so as not to do business on my holy day, and call the Sabbath my delight, and consecrate it to the glory of the Lord, if you honor him, avoiding travel, stopping doing your business, and discussing your affairs. He's so funny. I just heard boycott. So you see, he's letting you know that weekends is to boycott until we stop ceasefire, okay? Permanent ceasefire. Then you will find your delight in the Lord. So have a communication with him, have a relationship with him, have a nice dinner. Like a lot of us, if we live by ourselves, if we don't have a companion or a partnership or something like that, like enjoy your single time, enjoy that time that you're alone. Right? But also if you're friends and stuff like that, you can do prayers with them. You can have dinners, you can have talks, you can have, places where people feel comfortable and safe to talk about things, right? So it's beautiful that he does it through scripture. I love God so much. Then you will find your delight in the Lord. I will lead you over the heights of the land, and you will enjoy the heritage of Jacob, your father. He has spoken the mouth of the Lord. God's word. Okay? So, if you want to read even more deeper, go to the book Isaiah 58, 14. I'm sure there's different wording of this in the Quran or in the Torah or the other ones, because I know the Torah is the Old Testament, right? It's not really used anymore. We're using the New Testament. But the Old Testament, this is why the ideology is so updated. But then again, it is intentional. Remember that God said prayer is a form of resistance. So for those who are still stuck in the Old Testament, for the Torah, and this is why the Zionists have made it even more intense, especially those who haven't educated themselves or haven't added Christ into their scriptures. Then this is why, things are a little rocky, and this is why it's convenient for the Zionists, for most Jews to believe this programming ideology. So this is why I recommend you guys to follow anti-Zionist Jews, okay, content creators and influencers, okay, because it really does help and it does heal. And for my Jewish people who are here, I really suggest, especially most of my community that I have here are the ones who are Jewish, but also I have included Jesus into their practices, into their spiritual practices. So I have a lot of that community here. So this is why you are a rare breed, okay? And it's good that you decolonize yourself and you continue doing this, and you're educating your people, and then you're making them also, not making them, you're also educating them and influencing them to be anti-Zionist, because it is not a healthy thing. It's actually detrimental not only for ourselves or humanity, but also even our planet, because their ideology is too extreme, it's too barbaric, it's all about extraction and destruction, and it's not the right thing. God did not, this is another thing, they do not believe in God. So today I saw that, I started laughing, like these people, there was someone who asked them, the Israel, like, oh yeah, so you believe that you were chosen, right? And they're like, yeah, we're from Israel, of course. And I'm like, okay, but do you believe in God? And they're like, no. I'm like that doesn't make, you see how delusional they are? They think that they're chosen ones, but they don't believe in God. Who do you think created chosen ones? What? So even their own lies, they don't believe their own lies. They don't believe their own, they don't believe in anything. Again, demonics. These people have multiple demons inside, a curse. They have multiple curses as well. Okay? This is why they talk and they do all the things that they do. Okay? But again, God knows and sees everything. Okay? Okay, the other scripture that I actually was thinking about, but it's just funny that he put it here. So now we know, glory be to God, amen, inshallah, that he's speaking right now, okay? So it says St. Luke 5:27 to the 32, and it reads, at that time, Jesus saw a publican named Levi sitting at the tax counter and said to him, follow me. He, leaving everything, got up and followed him. Levi held a great banquet in his house in his honor, and a large number of publicans and others were at a table with them. And the Pharisees and their scribes murmured, saying to the disciples of Jesus, how is it that you eat and drink with tax collectors and sinners? Jesus answered them, it is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners to convert. Lord's word. Okay? Now, when we talk about conversion, the same thing with, I'm noticing that for Muslim that they use adoptee, like when they use adopted or Adoptee, like for us, it means something like taking away or stuff like that. But adoptee for Muslim is kind of like, helping those who are in need, those who need material support, where they need support. Okay, so the same thing with convert. He was explaining that to me today. The conversion in terms of Christianity, the white supremacy way, the colonial way, is converting is taking away their culture, their ideology, their language, and turn it into the colonizer way, turn it into what they believe, what they think, so that they don't turn into a threat, or they're not a threat to the colonizer, right? So this conversion, what he meant in the Bible, it doesn't mean what the colonizers mean, okay? So when he talked about conversion, it's basically letting go of your ego. I know, mic drop. It's letting go of our flesh. It's surrendering or fleshy desires and temptations. So that's what he means, that he's not here for the righteous who think they're righteous and all that, but he's here for the sinners to let go of their fleshy way, to let go of, the lying, the killing, and the obsession, addictions, and to focus on other things, on your goals, on your dreams, or helping other people, helping the poor, helping the sick, and stuff like that. Like being that Christ, being the embodiment of Christ within yourself. Like surrendering your whole flesh, your ego, and all of that, and then let Him go. And let Him live, you live through Him, kind of thing. So that's what he meant by conversion. So and this is why it's harder for a lot of people, especially when you have the religious spirit, to even believe that. But that's how we're here for, is to let go of that disgusting religious spirit that comes from the colonizer, that is super white supremacist, that is racist, and has this toxic extreme ideologies that needs to be stripped from you, and then you need to be renewed, right? Converted, to be let go of the ego, be converted into a new you. And every day we can do this, okay? It's not like tomorrow you can be renewed. Like that's something that Jesus did, right? He sacrificed himself so that we can have that privilege, because it is a privilege, to not only have that connection with him, but also knowing that as soon as you believe him, you have the eternal life. And not only you know, and you have faith that just like him, like after the 3 days he was being resurrected, he was able to resurrect himself. So a lot of us, we say this a lot in any religion, or mostly evangelist or Christian, we say like, oh, when the day that I came back again, like I revived myself. So a lot of us, we go through that ego death, and then we come back again resurrected, right? So a lot of us go through that transformation, resurrection, where we become new through Christ. We become different. You just let go of all the things that were keeping us shackled, were keeping us bonded, right? So everyone is different. Everyone heals differently. But I know that this is something that he wanted to explain, that everyone heals in a different way. For example, I've healed through my trauma and break generational curses. I'm still going through it, but I've done it in a way that just following him and being obedient, but also emphasizing on something that maybe ancient times or my ancient past life, where I used to be shamanic healer, a shaman, and I use crystal, and I use herbs, and I use different things. And also that's something that I'm also learning and understanding, that not everybody understands my gift, or will never understand it. Not everyone will understand what I do, how I'm able to heal, how I'm able to, what I do for work and stuff like that, in different aspects. Okay, so that's something that I'm learning to be okay with it, accept it. Like, okay, some people will get it, some people won't. Some people will think it's just crazy and stuff, and other will see it as a blessing, will see it as a gift. So this is something that I'm learning also to understand. Okay, and that's it. Like that's the scripture, that's what it means, is that he's not here for the people who already heal, who already, or think that they know everything or stuff like that. He's here for those who really need it, who really are suffering, who really are stuck in illusions. And again, even those people are enemies, like those who are enemies, like so he says, like to pray for our enemies. Not saying that we're enabling them and allowing them to abuse or you know what I'm saying, or treat us some type of way. Absolutely not. But also we forgive them for ourselves, so that we don't have any resentment or any pain or regret or anything like that in our heart, because at the end of the day, we need to make sure we as a humanity are responsible for our heart. Our heart needs to be clean. And this is why he's kept saying, open your heart, my child, open your heart. Like, this is what this podcast is called, open your heart. Okay, because in order to, it takes a lot of bravery, it takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage to keep your heart open when all you want to do is close it, when all you want to do is numb it, when all you want to do is bypass, right? When all you want to do is like go back to normal, right? But we cannot. Ignorance is not bliss. And he always said this as I'm a child, and I wrote an article about that, and it's true. And every time I live through, when we're going through this, when we're helping the Palestinians and we're doing this, we understand that ignorance is not bliss. It never is. That is thinking that it is bliss is a form of white supremacy. It's a conditioning. It's colonial. Okay? All right? Okay, so another thing that he wanted to make it very clear. He said, I don't know, he made me write all this, but let's see if I remember. He said, okay, so he said, imagine if the tool they have used to divide. Okay, so imagine if the tools that they have used to divide and create apathy in people is shifted, and people start to study every religion. Not to convert themselves. Like I explained, converting is different it's not what you think it is. Most of y'all think like, oh, conversion is like, oh, you need to baptize and you need to stick to the religion and you need to blah, blah, blah. No, that is not it, okay? For conversion is different for everybody, okay? I know that for Christianity, the people need to be baptized, the Catholic, they need to be baptized and stuff like that in order to, to do certain practices and stuff. But then again, those are rituals, okay? Yes, there is rituals, but not every day you need to be doing rituals. But a lot of us, going to church is a form of ritual, is a form of also sacrifice for God, that we want to be with him and we show him we want to be with him, but not every day you need to go to church. I'm just saying, like, your church is your body. So let's say on Sundays, like me, I go to church now, but it's just for like a cleansing the body as well, and then cleansing the spirit, right? Thank you. My cat confirms, okay? But not always I have to, like some days my church is my body, so I stay and just stay in prayer, do the fasting and stuff like that, and don't just keep to myself, keep in my hermit mode, and like talk to my ancestors, stuff like that. But it's just having a spiritual practice is basically it, that is consistent, right? That is consistent, that it's acceptable and right and righteous in the eyes of God. That's really it. And that's between you and God. So that's why it's an intimate relationship. It's sacred. So whatever it is that you do, no matter how many times you explain it to people, nobody will ever understand. So this is why I suggest always connect with God. This is why in all my messages and everything I said, always connect with God. Always talk to him. Always confirm with him. Always talk to him. Be patient for him. And that's a form also where I'm encouraging and influencing people to nurture their intuition. That's all there is. That's what I focus on. Because in order to nurture your intuition, you need to heal the soul. You need to heal the heart. And the only person who can do that, it's not me. It's not a doctor. It's not anybody on this planet. It's God. So when you connect with him, when you connect and ask questions and you want confirmation and stuff like that, because that's what most of us here are. Most of us, all of us, we are spiritual teachers. We are little guides. We're little microphones, little radios for God. All of us. Little radios for Holy Spirit to give messages to other people, to guide them in certain ways, right? To guide them to the right path. Because, and again, this is why you have to use discernment, because some people will guide you to the wrong path. Okay? Like people who are into, silent right now and Zionist crap and propaganda and like two-state solution and blah, blah, blah. You have to be careful with that. I will stay away. Anybody who tells you that crystals is demonic or tarot, all this is demonic, no, I will stay away. Stay away. Because these are the tools that is used to also see their energy, to look into their energy. They're scared that you will know what they're doing behind their back, while you're doing what somebody else is doing behind their back. They don't want to know. Oh, no. Right? A lot of you, you'll know a lot from a lot of people, a lot of things, because the energy doesn't lie. God is not a God of confusion. This is why he allows you guys, for certain people, specific psychic readers, to see energies when they use it for the right way. There's people who use this stuff for the wrong reasons. And this is why it becomes blasphemy. Okay? So that's why I keep it personal. I don't do personals, and I keep the energy clean and clarify. And right now he wants me to focus on humanitarian work and advocacy and stop a genocide. Multiple, right? Because that should be our focus. It's not business as usual, right? Anyways, so now what he's saying is that not to convert themselves unless that's what they feel God is calling them to do. That too, though. Hey, everyone has their sovereignty. Everybody has their own. There's a lot of people that are converting to Muslim. They want to learn about the Quran and stuff like that. Me too. I've been interested in, like, not converting, but interested in the Quran. Like, there's so many. It's so poetic. I found, like, I was reading, it's like so much poetry. Like, it's so much love. Like, in words, it's beautiful. And I love that. I love that. And also you see it through the people. Like, the people are so loving and so, like, everything that the media and all these people have created in us, that Arabic and Muslim people are terrorists. Like, that's the most disgusting thing, that the worst lie that these people have ever created. Okay. And that I rebuke it in the name of Jesus. Like, I will never, ever, like, no. And that's how you know, like, when people talk bad about other people, they're just jealous and envious, because you see it today. I saw that literally, this girl dressed with the whole hijab thing and I was like, wait, but you're white and you're wearing this stuff where literally women get killed for that stuff. Like, what? So that's another thing. It's like colonial people are just like, they're too much for me. Anyways, I love my Muslim community. I love my Arabic community. I love my Asian community. Happy Dragon, Chinese New Year. Okay, it's awesome. All right, I love it. It's one of my favorite. The dragon is the wood blue dragon. It's so cool. Anyways, I'm gonna get more deeper into that so I can tap more into it. I would love to learn more about it. Okay, so it says, but to learn and understand. He didn't say understand. He said inner, like INNER, understand. We might need spiritual food from each spectrum, religions, to feel whole and satisfied internally. Some will resonate and some won't. Like astrology, we read our birth charts and understand it's not just our sun sign that matters and define, quote unquote, us. It's what we learn about ourselves from within, as we're all are capable of doing good and bad. But our action is what defines us, and also lack thereof. So the lack of their action and the actions that we take also defines us, okay? What we choose to do with our time here. Choose your time wisely, but not at the expense of ignoring ethnic cleansing and genocide. We need to do more than usual because our voice and actions during this time matters. Dissociation is real. Feel hopeless too, but we must overcome that. Keep going above. Have more faith and believe even more than ever before. Lack of empathy, then work on staying woke about that colonial and toxic mentality and find ways to embrace more empathy for others and yourself as well. So he's saying lack of empathy, then work on staying woke about that colonial and that is colonial. That's what I meant. That is colonial and toxic mentality, right? Like when you're saying that you stay silent and you don't have empathy or care about those people, you're not able even to use your own platform to post about, at least talk about this or mention this because you're scared that it's gonna lower your views or affect your money and stuff like that. Like, no, that's what I'm saying. That is colonial and toxic, and that's what he's saying. And then use his name and use the Bible and quote him and stuff like that after you just like completely ignore people suffering and in pain. Like, that's what he's saying. Like, he's not okay with that. Yeah, so not okay with that, like clearly as day. Okay. And lastly, he said, find ways to embrace more empathy for others and yourself as well. Okay, so having empathy for yourself, like I said in the beginning, I was telling that, finding pleasure and joy and doing every little thing. Like for a lot of us, we are struggling with eating, we're struggling with like, having balanced life. Or for a lot of us who are in a relationship, if we are in relationships, like it's harder to even be intimate with your partner, or building that. It's like those things are actually important too. Like today we saw a post of Palestinian, they got married in a tent, and it was so cute, it was beautiful. I was like, oh my God, like, love can still coexist, and even the worst atrocity that you can possibly imagine, like these people still, there is a form of resistance to continue believing in love, continue doing the things that you love. Like also I saw another post where a singer, she was singing and writing and talking about it, and they were posting about her, and she was in a tent and making it so beautiful. Like you can barely see what's going on in the background, but you can see that it's horrendous where she's at, but just her energy, her joy, her passion to write and to sing was so loud, and so like it made her shine even more. Like whatever happened in the background, it didn't really matter, so stuff like that. Like, and that could be for a lot of us, it could be us sending them energy and her taking that energy and putting it out there. So it all comes back to us at the end of the day, because maybe a lot of us, we've been praying so much that all those beautiful energy of those people are able to overcome hunger or overcome certain situation in the meantime. But we have to continue saying ceasefire, stop genocide, free Palestine. Okay, we have to continue. And then they go and show us that they're still happy, that they're still able to continue believing and having faith and stuff like that they haven't given up, because we haven't given up, because we haven't given up on them. We haven't given up on our joy. We haven't given up on our necessities, or for a lot of us, if we had that privilege to go to therapy or speak to someone, or go to protests and stuff like that, like those things matter, and it matters to them as well. The posting and stuff like that, they see it. They feel encouraged too. So just like other people, you're encouraged by them, continue going and stuff like that, them too. So it's all comes back at the end of the day. It's a circle of life in terms of advocacy, in terms of resistance, in terms of eradicating oppression, because we need to be doing that. Okay. We can no longer continue doing this. I don't care what these imperialist people, and a lot of y'all, some of y'all, you don't understand, like these people are puppets too. The politicians are puppets for the actual billionaires, right? You know that, right? I know you're listening. I know you're listening very well. Oh, yes, I do. I know. God keeps telling me that I have a lot of billionaires here. They're threatened by people who speak the truth, and psychic readers and clairvoyants who are also actually climate activists and advocates that they try to silence 7-8 years ago. Well, baby, I'm still here and I'm still going. Okay? Just keep on listening. Maybe you'll learn a couple things to do, huh? Because you need some empathy, eh? And you need Jesus. Just saying. Anyways, so he said, but with their cup. Wait, where am I? Yeah. Humanitarian work sometimes can get you to neglect yourself and sacrifice everything to help others. Yes, I know for a lot of you, that sentence was like, oh my God. Okay, you're not alone, okay? I'm just saying that coming from a mama bear, a single mama, okay? I've noticed that I cannot continue much doing this work when I'm around my kids, so I don't do it. I don't work when I'm with my kids after school. I just do it either in the morning early before, like I post really early before they wake up, or on my break, on my work, or after they were done homework and they go to sleep. But even then, I'm like super exhausted because I have to clean the dishes and put all the dinners away, create their lunches for the next day and stuff like that. So usually when I'm not with them, when they're with their father, that's when I'm able to fully engage. And most of the time I mostly engage. For example, podcasts and all this stuff that I can do is when I'm not with them, right? So, but then again, that's even also for other parents and other people. It's not even a question, like it's not a privilege that they can do, But then again, everybody has different privileges and different things. So it's whatever you do with your time that you choose wisely how to do it. This is when you can do it. Okay. So a lot of us is different. Our advocacy and humanitarian work is different. But neglecting ourselves doing this work is not good. So humanitarian work sometimes can get you to neglect yourself and sacrifice everything to help others. So, yeah. But without your cup being full and getting your spiritual food, which is scripture, meditation, prayers before, for a lot of us who have kids, prayers before the kids wake up, okay? Prayers for a lot of us who don't have cars, or if we do have a car, prayer in the car. For those who don't have in the buses and stuff like that, like that is also considered good. That's spiritual food. Reading your scriptures, meditating. Some of you are fasting, doing Ramadan and stuff like that. Balancing everything, right? Not boycotting. That is a form of also spiritual food. I'm just letting you know, because literally as soon as I stop eating or buying certain places or certain things, like my health has improved a lot. And also that has helped. Not only the health hasn't improved, but also it helped to reduce the addiction, the constant needing to numb myself with drugs or alcohol or any other stuff. For a lot of you have other addictions that you already know that, you need to cut off, right? Because those are the ones that invite demonic entities, and you know which one are those, right? That is pornography and masturbation, right? We talk about this. This is something from the past episode. If you haven't got there, if this is too high vibration for you, I would suggest to go a little episodes back so that you can get to here. But those things do open those portals for demonic entities, okay? I know that I think it's other, But then again, nobody's perfect. I'm not here condemning anybody. I'm not here to judge. Everyone does your own thing. But all I'm saying, if you're going to do those things, make sure that you're protecting yourself, because what it's around you when you do that, it's not what you're not alone during those times. And you're definitely not protected during those times. Okay? Just saying. So, just a warning. All right. So it says being full and getting your spiritual food, prayers, and talking to God first before starting your day and ending your day. So at nighttime is important also, but especially covering yourself, covering your children, covering your house, rebuking in the name of Jesus any monitoring spirit, anybody trying to look into my energy. For a lot of us tarot readers, you need to be doing this on a constant basis, right? Not only saging your space and cleansing your energy, cleansing yourself, doing your spiritual bath, but you also have to, make sure that people are not monitoring you through, through tarot, right? And looking into your stuff. A lot of you guys, there's a constant prayer that you need to be doing, like literally not allowing people to look into your, like anybody looking into your life or into your blessings and stuff like that. May they go blind, that they cannot see, that God deviate them from a different reading, do different energy, that they don't see my blessings, block them from looking into my life. Yes. And those who are not even psychic tarot readers, those too. People don't need to be, that's a form of spiritual theft as well, looking into your life without your permission. That is a spiritual law violation as well, when you're looking into someone's doing psychic readings without their permission. That's why for a lot of us, when we do readings as a collective, we say it's a general collective reading. Use your discernment, because we don't know what energy we're tapping into. It could be multiple people. It could be just one, So that's what we say, use your discernment. It's a collective reading, because we have to say that. Because sometimes we don't know what we're tapping into. It could be a message the Holy Spirit wants to give to a bunch of people, or just one person, or just a few people, right? But when you're doing like personal readings, or someone pays you for personal readings, and then they go and tell you, oh, can you do a personal, like, can you watch this person or something like that? Like, I just don't. I just block and stay away from people who ask me to do readings for other people. Like, look into the life of another person. That's super weird. That's karmic. Okay? If they're coming to me to looking for some guidance about their life, about something that they need healing, or what they need to work on, or how can they connect with God better, how can they, what can they improve and stuff like that, in terms of like maybe their creativity or their finances or stuff like that they want their ancestors or spirit to let them know, absolutely. For sure. But looking into another person, that is not good. Okay? So, just saying. So it says, ending your day. It is vital to survive and continue your nurturing faith, intuition, discernment, unconditional love, plus forgiveness, as that's for you to set yourself free and not have resentment or bitterness in your heart. Being truthful and having integrity also is vital, as it makes you going through adversity with resilience, peace, and respect, not only for yourself but for others. Okay? Yeah, I hope that's clear. Anyways, we're gonna tap into Warrior deck. I just want to see if there's a message from the spirit guides, your ancestors, and then we're going to close this message, okay? But that message summarizes why your heart needs to be open, okay? Wait, I'm going to plug this with my keffiyeh. Yeah, just gotta be accurate to wear keffiyehs. I'll probably wear it in the video that we'll be doing after this, okay? After it's posted, there's going to be a collective message where I'm going to tap into what exactly Spirit wants to let you know about this psychosis energy. Oh, we still didn't read it. Oh my God. Okay, maybe it was done at the end. Where is it? Okay, so for a lot of you, you can do your research, but I see the psychosis says people with psychosis typically experience delusion, false beliefs, for example, that people on television are sending them special messages or that others are trying to hurt them. And hallucinations, seeing or hearing things that others do not, such as hearing voices telling them to do something or criticizing them. Right. Okay, so that's a form of psychosis, but that's not what I'm trying to look. Conditions that affect the mind in which people have trouble distinguishing between what is real and what is not. Okay. So this is why you need discernment. You need God. But then again, psychosis, the definition that is written here is mostly by, colonial white supremacy people, right? That they don't want you to really understand psychosis, right? Okay, so different form of psychosis: mental illness, schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, bipolar, depression, drug-induced, delusional disorder. This type of psychosis consists of very strong fixed beliefs in things that are not true without the presence of hallucinations. Okay, so this popped out. Honor of the ancient king. Yeah, so that's Papa mentioning. Okay, psychosis affects the way a person thinks, feels, and behaves. The experience of psychosis varies slightly from person to person. Positive symptoms. Yeah, see, delusion. False beliefs that are firmly held and are out of keeping with the person's culture. Hallucinations, seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and feeling something that is not actually there. Disorganized speech, thoughts, and behavior, switching rapidly between subject and speaking, finding it hard to concentrate or follow conversation, being unable to complete everyday tasks. Okay. Restricted speech and verbal fluent, difficulty within generating ideas or thoughts, reduced ability to begin tasks, reduced socialization and motivation. Okay, so these are very colonial though, we have to do your research about psychosis, okay? But this is, I feel like what he's trying to say, what we're trying to say is that they have this false belief that it's okay for genocide, for example. That is a form of psychosis. Thinking that it's okay and normalizing genocide, that is psychosis. That is a psychopath or genocidal maniacs, right? This is, for example, that, right? For example, that there are other people trying to hurt them. For example, the psychosis that they have is that they think that the reason why it's okay for them to genocide Palestinians or murder children is because, when they grow up, they're going to hurt us. They're going to come and attack us because, what we did to them. Do you understand? Why would they do that? Right?
Or how about you stop that is causing them to eventually do what you think that they're going to do, right? But they don't see that. This is why psychosis is embedded in colonial extremist Zionist people, okay? So this is why we also, it needs to be treated. These people need mental health, professionals, and they shouldn't be making decisions, or they shouldn't be leaders, or they shouldn't be, doing things that they're doing, right? 1 second, guys. All right, so let's end this with a card. And then we're gonna go. But yeah, do your own research about psychosis, but just be aware of their ideology or their beliefs, okay? And notice when also it's like a lot of them are trying to, if you've been doing this for a while and they feel some type of way, some of them are just jealous and envious as well, because nobody really believes them. Nobody cares what they have to say anymore, because you're just mentally ill. And also, like, they don't want people to know that they're like crazy, because they are. This is psychotic genocidal maniacs, right? And also even believing this is this righteous, or it's Hamas this, Hamas, like that is psychosis too. That is a psychosis. Like, there's no Hamas in the West Bank or in the North, but they're still killing and doing all the atrocities. They're still ethnically cleansing, and then you see it like the whole. It has never been about Hamas. That's the thing. That's their excuse. It has never been about them. It's about the Palestinians. It's about eradicating them. It's about the strict, intense jealousy and envy that they have towards them. To just, to take their land. To say, oh, no, this is their land. This is what we decided. Like, I don't understand. Why didn't you take a land from Germany, though? From the people that actually did the Holocaust, right? That they started this whole thing. Right? No. Or in the USA. Why can't you take a land from the USA? Right? No. It's better. They think that it's righteous to ethnically cleanse the Palestinians so that they can say that they have that land, that the Palestinians was never there, right? It's not going to happen. It's going to backfire like crazy. Because all I see, and there's no peace, right? No justice, no peace, right? And that's for real. Like, I'm in that energy right now, like. And I'm not saying this to induce any fear or anything like that, or that no, it's just that there's just no peace. Like, you cannot have peace with people like this. Like, they have done way too much. This is beyond barbaric. This is beyond evil, pure evil. You want to see what evil people can do? Just look at Zionist people. Look at their belief. Look how they talk. Look how they record and they dance over people's grave after they kill and they destroy mosques and hospitals and homes and stuff like that. No, man, that's just evil. Then the other one where they actually cooking and people that they have already kicked them out of their house, and then they're homeless and having no place to eat or no place to be. And then these people are cooking with their, like, what the? No. Like, no. Come on. Wake up, people. Like, no. All right. So we have number 36, Mayu. Some from the galactic heart. Ooh. And at the bottom we have each other we find ourselves. Ooh, that one's good. All right. Let's see where I put the book. One second, guys. All right. So here we go. This is called Mayu. Soma from the galactic heart. It says the divine mother's milk of the galaxy is feeding your soul. Yum, 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 yum. Expansion of your horizons, your spiritual purpose, and your sacred responsibilities is taking place. Divine potential within you is awakening at a higher turn of the creative spiral of consciousness. This oracle is prophecy of ascension and grace. Yes. So a lot of people are ascending, and we're giving grace not only to ourselves but to others. That's beautiful. All right. So it says your soul has been going through deep spiritual feeding process and is growing rapidly. The evidence of this is in the outer world will be a sense of expansion of opportunity, reach, connection, and new levels of spiritual experiences. This oracle foretells the welcoming in a new phase in life. Newborn energies and fertility, whether biological, creative, or psychological, are being stimulated. The oracle indicates the discovery, development, and expression of talents. An increasingly public profile, which moves you into the spotlight, can help you fulfill your divine life mission, provide that you keep your inner connection to spirit as the highest priority. The oracle speaks of soul healing and around matters of trust, spirit, mother, and abundance. I love that. All right, so it says, the spiritual guidance of this. I'm not going to read it all because, wow, that's long, but we'll see. We'll see what spirit tells us to do. All right, so it says, Mayu, star goddess of the Milky Way. So I could be talking to people who are considered star seeds, galactics, light workers, goddesses, earth angels, indigo child, kids, people. You're usually considered the outcast, right? The black sheeps, right? But there's a reason for that. You're not meant to do the same thing as everybody else. You're meant to be different, okay? So most of the people they have here are mostly creatives, mostly musicians, artists, painters, writers, singers. Others are psychic mediums, tarot readers as well. So a lot of you're kind of like in that niche, right? You feel comfortable in those spaces, right? Which is great. It's amazing. But make sure that you are integrating the advocacy, the humanitarian work that we need to be doing, not only for Palestinian, but also Congo and Sudan. Like we need everybody on deck. Everyone's on deck. We all going to be anti-capitalist and anti-Zionist, right? We all going to eradicate this, and we are going to, this imperialist elite, disgusting system is going to fall, and we are going to be the catalyst of this. This is why we're here. Don't forget that. And yes, it's going to be very uncomfortable. Yes, we're going to go through a lot of things, and there's a lot of sacrifices that we have to do. But as long as we have God first and we are obedient to God, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks or say or anything like that. Do you understand? Just trust and have faith in God, okay? Oh, my nose is so itchy, so this is confirming. Okay? Trust exactly. You have your angels, your guidance, your spiritual guides, your ancestors, okay? Make sure that you're connected with them first before you connect with anyone. That's just my opinion, okay? Love yourself first, connect with yourself first, know who you are first before you connect with anybody, before you are involved in anything, right? And then find the niche that works for you, okay? That it's suited for you, okay? A lot of us, we have different paths, we have different healing paths, journeys and stuff like that. So not everybody is the same, and that's actually a blessing too, okay? It's a good thing to be different. But no comparison, no competition, because that's colonial, okay? All right. So, Mayu, star goddess of the Milky Way, was seen clearly in the skies of the ancient Incas. In Western tradition, the Milky Way is recognized as a metaphor for nourishment and the milk of the heavens. When she appears as an oracle, it is an omen of happiness, satisfaction, and fulfillment. If you develop your spiritual practice, you shall come to experience feeling drunk in divine bliss. And I can actually attend to that. Like sometimes, ever since I stopped drinking or smoking, like I feel drunk sometimes when I'm in my prayers or meditation, or when I'm doing what I love. Like I love giving energy readings. I love healing people. I love talking to people. I love being there for my community, especially where I work with people with disabilities. I love, giving them, encouragement, and also like creating or amplifying the voices for the Palestinians or the Congo, the Sudan, like doing the work in the background as well, like, really harassing the representative, even though they can't stand me anymore. Some of them do end up talking to me for a little bit. I guess my voice sounds very convincing. But some of them, like, they just block me or they can't stand me anymore. But that's okay. As long as at least one ends up, like, listening, that's all that matters at the end of the day, okay? Oh, my nose is so itchy. Usually that's an indication of my angels are around, so. Okay. So yeah, don't be afraid to be yourself as well. It matters, your authenticity. So a lot of you feel kind of awkward, like, oh, a lot of people used to think that I'm this and that whenever I was being myself and stuff like that. So a lot of you have developed this mask, right? This facade. And now you're being kind of pushed to like, no, that doesn't matter anymore. And it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you were, what you used to do, or how you used to become, or how. I know a lot of you use that mask and that facade to survive for certain situations, but a lot of you, we are very privileged. We are saved. We do have, and also in numbers, we are even more safer. We are more protected when we are doing this type of work. So don't let the colonizer put that in your mind, that individualistic and like being by yourself and acting by yourself and doing things alone, that's gonna get you anywhere. Like at the end of the day, like I don't think I'll be here and feel this type of confidence and feel protected, safe, and loved if I didn't have a beautiful community that I follow, that I learn from, that we all learn from each other, that we make mistakes, but also we are able to compensate it, but also like we're able to lift each other, support each other, and stuff like that. So I'm just letting you know that you will find those people, or they will find you. Like you will be in that niche, and just appreciate that when you have it. Okay, like there's people that I'm like, I feel like I know them like for life, but I've never see them in person. But through social media, we're able to connect. We're able to help each other. We're able to talk about the same things, and also helping each other with the comments and amplifying voices and stuff. So we're not really that separated. We're really connected. And also I feel like when you're in the right niche and when you're using social media for the right things, with moderation of course, because it can get too overwhelming. So make sure that once you've done the work that you need to do, what you've Holy Spirit, because most of us work with Holy Spirit, to be honest, because watching atrocities on a daily basis or looking at things like that is very hard, it's very painful. And but then again, he gives this type of work to a stronger soldier. So no complaining, because they have it worse, and all I gotta do is literally amplify it and pray if I can, or donate if I can. If I don't have, then just put it for other people to do so. But at the end of the day, it does help to be in a community and unity than being alone doing this. Okay, so I'm just reminding those that kind of did that shadow work and work and heal all by yourself. Like, yeah, there is that solitude, like in the Bible says it, like there's that time where there's God is going to isolate you to work on you, to build a relationship with him and you, and like to rebuild yourself, right? Like you can resurrect without him once you are going through the ego death, right? Once you convert, like I explained, you need him every step of the way, and also you need him to get through this. You need him also to help you, to give you strength so that you can fill that cup, and then you're able to pass it to other people, and then amplifies the voices. But also when you do those prayers, you send protection, you send energy and strength to those who need it, and to also revitalize your joy and your passions, and you're willing to live, the pleasures of willing to live. Okay, especially for a lot of us who are very spiritual and very sensitive in spirit, you also are dealing with not just the psychological and the the emotional and mental warfare, but also there is the spiritual warfare where there's people doing stuff to you because they know they could see your future, or they could see what you could become, or especially if you're someone who has a lot of empathy and you're advocating for others, and you're gonna help a lot of people, kind of that energy. Okay, because a lot of us, we don't really care about fame, we don't really care about none of that stuff. We care about people, we care about that other people have equal rights, that that they have all that they need. So a lot of us, God does favor a lot of y'all who are in that energy, but it's not for that you do it for the glory of him, because at the end of the day, he gets all the glory, right? And you're happy about that, and you're happy that other people get all the praise and all that stuff, and you don't really care about that, but eventually that comes with it. So you know that new levels, right? So you also have to be aware that you cannot control what other people do. You can only control what you do. So this is why I mentioned the crystals. This is why I mentioned prayers. This is why I mentioned being discerning and nurturing your intuition, so that you can be aware of your surroundings, so that you can protect yourself in every possible way. Because those people who are jealous and envious of you, or they already consider you a threat or something like that, they already have their own agenda, their own assumptions, and their own plans to hurt you, to harm you, and destroy you, because it comes from the enemy, right? They have let the enemy influence them, and that's something that you cannot control, unfortunately. Okay, so just saying. All right, so like a baby in an ecstasy of complete fulfillment through the mother's milk. When we connect with the galactic heart, again, remember the heart, right? It is a sign of spiritual advancement. So remember, this podcast started, open your heart, keep an open heart, okay? So I'm glad the Spirit's ending it like this. Everything is connected. We are growing in such a way that our being becomes ready, willing and able to take up more spiritual space in the atmosphere. You will express that spiritual growth in your life according to your talents. If you're a thinker, your ideas will become more inspired, expansive, and original. If you're a healer, ding ding, you will experience the flow of new quality of divine consciousness through your work. If you're a leader, ding ding, to my leaders around here, you will experience a feeling of being overshadowed by something truly great, kind, and helpful, whilst at the same time feeling more fearless, bold, and confident to speak your truth and guide those in your care. Whatever the truth of our soul encounters with the galactic heart are granted in order to evoke, expand, and empower it upon the earth. So you see, it's connected. Us embracing our gifts and our talents not only helps other people, help those in need, and gives a voice to those who are feeling voices, but those who are voicing out stuff already, and they're loud about it, that we're able to take the mic and put it in their face and get them to speak even louder. Okay, so it not only helps them, but it also helps our planet. We're also here for that as well. We cannot just leave it on the side, because that's something that we also have to focus on, that whatever is happening in any of those countries, the extraction, the injustices, the killing, the bombing, and all of that actually also has an effect on our planet. We are connected to Earth as well. Okay, our trees are connected to Earth. Everything is connected, and everything that we affect our planet, it affects us. So everything affects us, it affects our planet, and everything affects our planet affects us. It's all connected. We cannot get away from it, even though the system is trying to separate you from it. It's impossible. It's not possible. It's kind of like our bodies, right? Our heart is connected to our nervous system, right? So if we unplug any of our nerves that is needed for our heart to pump blood, then everything just coagulates and it damages. It cannot longer function. It's the same thing. The same thing with the Palestinians. They're so connected to their land that they cannot leave it. Like leaving their land, leaving their country. They're so, like, they have so much history. Like they're ancient, their bloodline, their heritage, everything is embedded into the land of the Palestine. So removing them or trying to remove them, it's literally inhumane. It's an atrocity. It's literally removing the heart of that land, of that earth that we are home, which is the home of everybody. So we have to remember that's the main priority, that we have to focus that cannot happen. We cannot allow them to do this, to remove the Palestinians completely from their land. Okay? It has to be stop genocide, ceasefire now, permanently ceasefire, and free Palestine, right? And Palestine will be free. Absolutely. But we need to continue doing this work, okay? And even after when it's done, when it's free, we still have to end the occupation, end the apartheid. And yes, these Israel people, if the Israeli people, the Jewish people, I don't know, there needs to be going through a screening, right? Because not everybody can stay with the Palestinians anymore. I don't think the Palestinians, this is why they're scared that the Palestinians get their land back. It's like, oh my God, they're going to go after us. They're going to try to do what we did to them. And, you know, I don't think that's actually your say, you know? That is not up to you, right? Like, you did what you did. You allowed this to what you did. But I know that there's a lot of Jewish people in Jerusalem and in the Tel Aviv that they've been trying to stop this stuff as well, you know. But I feel like there's going to be a screening and stuff like that where Palestinians are going to decide whether these people stay in their line or not, you know. So that is not up to them anymore. And this is what they're afraid. They're like, oh, no, they're going to kick us out. Like, yeah, the same way that you kick Palestinians out, most probably, yes. But the good thing is that you have families everywhere in Europe that you can go back to. You can go back to where you came from, right? Palestinians don't have that right. And that's what we need to remember. Okay? This is why we're doing this as well. They deserve their right to go back to their land. They deserve their right to stay where they belong. Right? And those who are land stealers, they can go back to where they came from. They can go back to Germany. They can go back to they can go back to Canada, USA, anywhere their colonial people are, where they came from. They know that. They know that. And they know that's going to happen. So you better start packing your bags, because that's going to happen. Anyways, let's continue. Some interpretations of the Vedas from ancient India see the Milky Way as the heavenly soma, the nectar of immortality and the drink of the divine. Soma can feed the soul, but like any food, healthy or otherwise, too much at any given time is hard to digest and can create more harm than good. More divine light and energy is not always better, at least not while we try to take it all in at once. We need to learn when enough is enough, to detach from the divine mother's breast and rest in contentment and fulfillment of the present moment. To allow ourselves to be spiritually fed, to know when to latch on and when to detach from the inflow of spiritual energy. To allow for the mind, body, and soul to adjust to the increased levels of light and spiritual nutrition, and to metabolize that for healing growth. So basically grounding ourselves. So not constantly like the spiritual new age people, they're always like high vibration and high D and 5D and 12D or whatever, like constantly in spiritual like freaking bypassing, right? Like that needs to also need to be grounded, right? So we need to ground ourselves and go back to earth and live the reality and help those who are in the ground just as you are, okay? And use that privilege for good. Use your time wisely, all right? We need to feel trust and surrender into the divine feminine. If we had difficult issues around trust, support, and nourishment as human beings, then clearing those issues through grace as to be able to receive the heavenly nectar without greed or fear is important. Heavenly nectar without greed or fear, which is something that the system heavily relies on, heavily wants the oppression also of the divine feminine within the males or females, okay? There's no gender, but I feel like a lot of us, this is something that has been long time ago sexualized or oppress women, or constantly the bullying, right? So a lot of us were spiritually bullied all the time as well by other patriarchy males who are completely uneducated and lack spiritual food, right? So that's something that we also have to be constantly healing as well, and not only give ourselves grace, but those people. But again, remember, forgiveness is for you and it's a process. And at the end of the day, always connect with God about that. He will tell you when if it's okay to reconnect with those people, or reunion or not. Okay, like some people learn their lesson, their karmic lesson, some people don't. All right. And that's not up to us, and that's not us who decide those things, all right? So Mayu offers healing of these matters with grace, okay? It says digestion and integration allow us to utilize the blessing and become ready for further expansion when it is time to fed again. We trust that her sacred food will be available when needed. So a lot of you, thank you so much for liking, commenting, sharing. For my Spotify people, thank you so much for following. Thank you so much for sharing in your stories, on your Instagram, your Facebook, and stuff like that. I really appreciate it, especially for those who believe that this is spiritual food that other people could need, could help them as well. Thank you so much. It's an honor and I appreciate it. Those who save this, if it's too long, I don't know how long it is. I just feel like I've been talking for a while. But if you want to save it for later, or if you want to listen to it later on, if you need it, then go ahead and save. Okay. Thank you so much. I love you. So we trust that her sacred food will be available when needed. We can learn to rest into all that the Galactic Mother will provide for our souls, growing us into the fullness of our spiritual radiance and maturity. One dose of her extraordinary blessed soma at a time. Okay? All right, my beautiful people. There's a healing prayer. I think it's beautiful. Okay, let's read it. I don't know, it's really beautiful. Okay, so say this prayer out loud with one hand on the heart if possible. Okay, a lot of you don't have to do this, so you can stop listening to me if you want. But for those who want to hear the prayer, here it goes. I invoke the unconditional love of the galactic heart and give thanks for all that is good, true, and nourishing of my being on all levels through unconditional love. I surrender with forgiveness and blessing any issues to do with mothering or being mothered, whether too much or too little. I release myself from false guilt, shame, and judgment now. I release the mother figures in my life with forgiveness in my heart, for I no longer wish to hold on to old pain. I acknowledge I am worthy and deserving of nourishment straight from the sacred milk of unconditional love from the Galactic Mother. May all mothers receive healing and guidance, blessing, and assistance from the Divine Mother of all souls. With trust, I open myself now to receive what is needed for the ecstatic fulfillment of my own being through divine grace. With gratitude, and so it is. So it says, now it's time to close your eyes and rest for as long as it feels good. Whether you wish to meditate or sleep or just close and rest your eyes for a time, give yourself permission to do that now. You can begin that process by gazing at the image of the card for a moment, gently focusing on the light at the heart center of the galactic goddess and imagining, feeling, visualizing, or pretending that you're stepping right into the heart light as you either zone out into sleep, rest your eyes, or meditate now. When you're ready, ground yourself with some deep cleansing breath in and out as you emerge from your rest. Move your body a little and ground yourself in the here and now. You have completed your healing process. I love that. All right, guys. I hope this was a blessing to you. It was definitely a blessing to me, just believe it or not. I love talking to you. I'll try to come here later on more often, but for now, this is what I have for you. For those of you, there's a full moon coming the 25th, very soon. I'm not sure it's a full moon in Pisces, but I know we're going into Pisces season, so happy birthday, Pisces. For others of you, full moons is all about releasing, so if you need anything to release, anything to let go of, anything to heal, this is the perfect time. Beautiful energy, especially if it's Pisces energy. It's all about intuition. It's all about healing or mental or emotional well-being or psychological well-being. So that will be a good time to do that. Okay. Other than that, I will talk to you guys later. I love you. I hope you're doing well. Make sure that you're being kind to others, your planet, and yourself. And as always, free Palestine. Free Congo, free Sudan, and all the other countries being oppressed. And I love you guys. I'll see you next time.